Good morning, one and all present here. Today I going to see the topic on the storytelling. What is storytelling? Storytelling involves a two-way interaction between a storyteller and one more or two listeners. The response of the listeners influence the telling of the story. In fact, storytelling emerges from the interaction and coordinated efforts of teller and a audience. Storytelling is interactive. Storytelling uses words. Storytelling uses action such as vocalization, physical movement, and gestures. Storytelling presents a story. Storytelling encourages the activity, imagination of the listener. Storytelling is interactive. Storytelling involves the two-way interaction between a storyteller and one or two more listeners. In particularly, the storytelling does not create an imaginary barrier between the speaker and the listener. This is the part of what distinguishes storytelling from the forms of theatre that uses as imaginary fourth wall. Different cultures and situations create a different expectations for the extra roles of storyteller and listeners who speaks how often and when, for example, and therefore create different forms of interaction. The interactive nature of storytelling partially accounts for its immediance and impact, and it is best storytelling can directly and tightly connect the teller on the audience. Storytelling uses words. Storytelling uses language, whether it be a spoken language or a manual language, such as American Sign Language. The use of language distinguishes storytelling from most forms of dance and mime. These actions are the parts of spoken of manual language. Other than words, their use distinguishes storytelling from writing and text-based computer interactions. Not at all non-verbal language behaviors need to be present in storytelling. Some storytellers use body movement extensively, for example, whereas others use a little or a none. Storytelling uses the action such as physical movement or a gestures. Storytelling always involves the presentation of a story, a narrative. Many other art forms all present story, but storytelling presents it with the other four components. Every culture has its own definition of story. What is recognized as a story in one situation may not be accepted as one in another. Some situations call for an playful digressions, for example, others call for near extra repetition or a redundant text. This is the storytelling presents a story. Storytelling encourages the active imaginations of the listener. In storytelling, the listener's imaginations the stories in traditional theatres or in a typical dramatical film. On the other hand, the listener enjoys the illustrations that the listener is actually witnessing the character or events described in the story. The story listener's role is to actively created with the multi-sensory images, actions, characters and events. The reality of the story is on her mind based on the performance by the teller and the listener's own past experience, beliefs and understandings. Thank you.